Hi, this is Edward Troxel. In today's tutorial, we're going to start looking at track motion information. To do this, we're going to just add an event to the track and just look to see what the values that are in there are, and then we're going to start changing some values and then see how that affects the track motion settings on the screen. Now there are two different types of track motion. There's the standard track motion, which is all of the various presets except for one, and that one is the 3D alpha. If we change to 3D alpha, then we are in 3D track motion. So some of the commands will work in 2D track motion, and other commands require you to be in 3D before you can use them. Today we're going to concentrate on the 2D settings and see what we can discover. Like last time, I want to show the information on the screen, so I've created me a little show info routine to use. I'm going to be passing that the keyframe that I'm going to be using. So I have a track motion keyframe called myKF that I'm passing into show info. The first thing I want to do in here is get Vegas updated the screen. So to update the screen of Vegas, you just call myvegas.updateUI, which is the user interface, and that will make it update before we display the message. Then I'm going to display all of the different pieces that we can get from this keyframe. The first piece is the depth. So at myKeyframe.depth is the first setting that we're going to look at. Then we have the width, the height, then we have the rest of them have three pieces, X, Y, and Z. So we're going to look at position X, Y, and Z. Then we're going to look at the orientation X, Y, and Z. And then we're going to look at rotation X, Y, and Z. And then we're going to look at rotation offset X, Y, and Z. Now, like I said, some of these only work when you're in 3D track motion, so we're going to skip those in the beginning, but we'll get to them later. So in the main routine up here, we get Vegas just like we always did into My Vegas, and then we have the first track is what we're going to look at. So my first track is a video track. It has to be a video track in order to use video track motion. So I get the first track, which is myvegas.project.tracks, and it's the 0th track. So that will get us the first track into my track. Now I need to convert that into a video track. So the video track, V track, is going to be video track in parentheses in front of my track, which will convert the track into a video track. Next, I'm going to get the first keyframe on that video track. So we look at track motion keyframe. I'm going to call it myKF equals the video track dot track motion dot motion keyframes, and we're going to look at the 0th keyframe, which will be the first keyframe on the track. And then we're simply going to show the information that is in that keyframe. So I can do that with just saying show info my keyframe. So let's see how that works. So here I have a video on track 1, and we can see what it looks like on the screen, and we will run the script and see what it tells us. So we can see that this is reporting a depth of 54, width of 1920, height of 1080, position X, Y, and Z is 0, 0, 0, orientation is 0, 0, 0, rotation is 0, 0, 0, and rotation offset is 0, 0, 0. So even though we're in 2D track motion, we can still read the 3D information. We just can't change 3D information until we change the track to 3D. So let's look at the track motion. And we can see that all of the information here matches. The X and Y offset is 0, the angle is 0, the angle is 0, 1920 by 1080, and the X and Y is both 0. So now let's change some information in the keyframe. First thing, myKeyframe.width. I'm going to change that to 720, and then we're going to show all the information again. Then I'm going to change the height to 480, and then we're going to show the information again. Then I'm going to change the position. I'm going to scoot it over 100, and we're going to show the information again. Then we're going to change the position Y. It's actually going to move up 100, and then we'll show the information again. So for the positioning, the 0, 0 is in the lower left-hand corner, and so positive numbers are going to move it up or to the right. Negative numbers will move it down and to the left. Next, we're going to look at the orientation Z. That will actually rotate it for us. Then we're going to look at the rotation offset X and see what that does. Rotation offset Y, see what that does. And then we're going to look at rotation Z. Now, rotation X, rotation Y, and orientation X and orientation Y will not work in 2D track motion because these are all 3D settings. So these will work in the standard 2D. And we'll see how each of those affects the pan crop screen as they happen. So I'm going to leave the track motion screen open while we run it this time. Okay, so first we have the same numbers as we had before, because that's the default value, 1920 by 1080 with 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. Now, we are going to change the width. Notice the width is now 720, and we can see from the display screen and from the track motion screen that the window is now much narrower than it was before. Click on OK and we'll change the height. The height is now 480. So as you can see on the preview screen, we now have a much smaller version of what we had before, and the track motion screen reflects that as well. Here we changed the position X. So we moved it to the right 100. Next we'll change the position Y, and so it will go up 100. And there we have the change, and we can see it reflected on both the preview screen and the track motion screen. Next we'll change the orientation Z. Okay, the rotation of 20 changed the angle on the track motion screen. The orientation angle was changed, and so we are now rotated 20 degrees. Now we have changed the rotation offset by 200 on the X value. Now we're going to change the Y value also 200, and we can see that the little circle inside the box is now on the edge of the box because it has moved to the right 200 and up 200. This time we're going to change the rotation Z. Now here's the difference between the rotation Z and the orientation Z. The orientation will always rotate around the center. The rotation Z will rotate around the rotation offset point. So now we're going to set a rotation Z value, and it's going to rotate around that circle. So now we did a rotation of -30, and you can see everything in this box matches up with all of the information to the left. So our rotation angle is -30, our rotation offset is 200, 200, our angle is 20, our position is 100, 100, and our width and height is 720 and 480. So that shows you how we can access the track motion information for 2D track motion. In the next tutorial, we'll continue expanding on this and look at some 3D settings. And so you'll be able to manipulate all of the track motion using your script. In this particular case, we just did the initial keyframe, but you can also add additional keyframes using a script. So this will help you get started in getting the track motion information set. Please sign up at www.JETDV.com and subscribe on YouTube to get further notifications on when new videos are presented.